Welcome back to my author commentary for A Prince of Song and Shade. Today we're up to chapter 10. I love this chapter so much, and for a few different reasons. So we have Talyn finally arriving back in Mithranar after leaving it at the end of A Tale of Stars and Shadow, and then recently making the decision to return. She has a chat with Ravinire, gets herself enlisted back into the Wolves, into the Wingguard, and then trots off to have a lovely conversation with the Shadowhawk, in which she reveals kind of the true reason she's come back. So let's dig into it. Firstly, obviously on the journey back, it's a long journey by ship back to Mithranar, she starts having a lot of doubts, and that's kind of compounded when she actually arrives there and sees the place before her and the reality of what returning to Mithranar actually means, because there's a lot of bad stuff that went down last time she was there. There's a lot of, as we've talked about before, a lot of injustice in that society, a lot of injustice that she has no control over. Talyn being removed from the wing being probably the biggest thing that impacted her the most as a consequence of the Wolves winning that Alea game. And the reality of that kind of hits her as she arrives back, and that doubt kind of comes back in full force, and she's kind of like, what am I doing? But then she gets off the ship, she walks through the city on the way to the inn where she's told Ravinire that she's going to meet him. And she sees the Azurdia workers coming back from their day working from the tunnel, and sees the food packages that are there for them. And that kind of makes her remember then the good parts of Mithranar, and particularly Dock City and the human folk, and how they kind of band together and how she was a part of that. And so that settles her doubts a lot, which was a nice little touch there. She has the meeting with Ravinire, who's astonished that she's back, even more astonished when she tells him that she has resigned from the King's Shield, that she's not here in any official capacity, and that she wants to rejoin the Wolves and enlist with the Wingguard. She's dancing very close to the edge by telling him that she is Mithranar, that her father is from Dock City, because she doesn't know this, but if Ravinire went digging on that and tried to figure out who her father was, that could open up a lot of danger for her, but she doesn't realize that because her father didn't tell her, because she didn't tell her father she was coming back. So she's dancing quite close to the line there, but not being quite aware of that. And after that meeting with Ravinire, in which he happily kind of knowing that's what his queen wants, allows her to enlist, although he won't return Talyn, as he kind of tells her his job is to protect the queen. And this is the first. Ravinire is very much a queen's man. He's there. His one and only loyalties to the queen. It's not to Mithranar, it's not to Azrael, it's not to Cuinn. It's not to really anything else in Mithranar. He really is a queen's man. That came out in A Tale of Stars and Shadow. It's reinforced here. He's not even going to take Talyn's demand to her, because he doesn't feel that it would be safe for the queen to upset Talyn, the Stormflight family, by removing Talyn from his wing and putting him back with the Wolves. So that's an interesting little tidbit on Ravinire there. And then, of course, Talyn heads off to meet with the Shadowhawk, and the whole way there, Sari's in her head. The banter between the two is a lot of fun to write. Hopefully it's just as fun to read. I always enjoy it when I read over it. It's very reminiscent of the banter that I have with the character, the person that Sari, the character of Sari, is based on, my best friend in real life. We do that a lot. This is the first time Sari is generally concerned that Talyn might be like a bit off the rails after her death. They were Calanan warriors. Their entire purpose in life was to hunt criminals, remove crime, etc. And now Talyn is off to make an alliance, essentially, with the Shadowhawk. And it's a fascinating conversation between the two for some reason, and it's not even, I don't think, something that Talyn's conscious of, but she's able to open up to him and tell him the full story of what happened to Sari and how she lost her. And that is the first time in this series that we've seen Talyn do that. She obviously admitted to Theak what had happened, that she lost her partner, but even to him, she couldn't talk about the details. But here, partly, I suppose, because she has properly started that healing journey, she is actually getting better. She went home, she saw her parents, she went and saw Rowan and Tarquin, she kind of put those ghosts to rest. So she's doing better generally, but she's also now capable of talking through the full details of what happened to the Shadowhawk. And we'll get his perspective on that a little bit later in Cuinn's chapters. But he obviously, being the song mage that he is, can read everything that comes along with that. So he reads how honest she is, how sincere, how the reality of what had happened to her, and the fact that she's there offering to help him. I think the wording in the chapter is he goes so still, and Talyn doesn't quite read that, but for Cuinn, that's just no one's ever offered to help before. Like, and this is kind of his wildest dream come true after he saw the impact that Talyn had in Mithranar during A Tale of Stars and Shadow, only for her to leave, and that's kind of what he expected would happen. But now for her to come back and to offer to help, that's just, it's world changing for him. And that stillness is kind of reflective of that. I think also Talyn terms that conversation, that offer of an alliance, as a flying leap of faith in him. And it is, because she still really doesn't know anything about him. All she knows is the brief interactions they've had, the fact that he is fighting on behalf of the humans, but he's still a criminal. She still doesn't fully understand his motives. She can sense that there's something more there than what he tells her, and yet she's willing to open up to this degree and offer to work alongside him, knowing the danger that puts her in, which worries Sari a little bit. And Sari's question at the end of that chapter is which one is Talyn betraying? Is she infiltrating the Shadowhawk, or is she betraying Sheer by making an alliance with him? And in Talyn's mind, it's neither. In Talyn's mind, he isn't the enemy that Sheer Thorniel, the First Blade, believes he is. And by befriending him, by allying with him, by working with him, she feels she can prove that and answer the questions that the First Blade has. So in Talyn's mind, she's not betraying either, but she's walking a very fine line. She's making a big judgment call here, and that's what Talyn does. That's Talyn's character. We see her make these calls occasionally, and generally they work out for the good. And in this instance, obviously it does. But yeah, a great chapter. I loved that meeting, but particularly with her and the Shadowhawk. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you have any questions about this chapter or anything else, drop them in the comments below. As always, more than happy to answer them. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I really look forward to coming back to chat about chapter 11 soon. I hope you have a great day.